Hey, true believers, fellow theme park fans, and fellow film buffs. England Teen, the homegrown tourist here. I love comics, whatever. We're on all channels this time because we're talking about WandaVision, and it just so happens to fit all channels. Now, we missed episode 6. We weren't able to do it last week because of family obligations I had. So we're going to skim over that as well. Today's episode, though, had the big reveal. We're going to get to that. We're going to try to do our best. Going through this in chronological order. With me to help talk about this, we have the real Dr. VENKMAN, except no substitutes. Alrighty, we have Dalton the Authenticator.
Good evening.
And if you could stomach him and not the puppet for just a little bit, we have Professor Pixel.
Live from Westview.
Oh, there you go. And I saw a tweet earlier where you're saying every time you show your face, people are saying, "Where's the puppet?" See, people want England Teen.
He is the puppet, though.
All over the place. So, yeah, there you go. In any shape or form they can get them in. All righty. So we may not get a lot of viewers on this one because I put in the title. I put in the tweet out to everybody. We're going to spoil the heck out of this. There's no way we're getting through talking about this without spoiling something.
Here there be spoilers. You have been warned.
Yes. We will spoil episode number 6 for sure, and we're going to spoil episode number 7. So, yeah, there you go. Hopefully you come back. We just lost 2 viewers, too, and we didn't have that many. Hello to Almighty Jack and to Hilliam. How you doing? Almighty Jack says, we want the puppet or we riot. And you'll get them eventually anyway. And howdy to Kenny Bishop.
Almighty Jack, you got to show up for I Love Puppets then tonight if you wanted the puppet.
There's a whole channel.
Whole channel for one puppet. It's insane.
Okay, so last week let's skim over episode 6. I don't want to spend a lot of time because I want to jump into the new one for today and all that. So last week was the special Halloween episode, and this is I gotta say I really dug on it. It was more of a vision-oriented episode. We saw the suffering of the townspeople. The one couple that were in the time loop, and she's got that tear going down. I was like, oh my Lord in heaven, because they, as much as what was it? We interrupt this program or whatever it was called. As much as that painted Wanda as the villain, last week's episode really did the number by painting Wanda as the villain. Of course, we got the big reveal tonight, or this morning for when I saw it at 5 o'clock in the morning. I stayed up all night doing comics and such, and
I mentioned to England Teen that I was just getting ready for bed, and then the episode dropped, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm not going to bed for another half an hour.
30 more minutes. Yes, 30 more minutes.
Mom.
But yeah, last week's episode was, I like the fact that it was their Halloween episode because it was the closest to a horror story that WandaVision has had in a lot of the MCU. Of course, this time it was done in the style of, I got Malcolm in the Middle with the
Office.
No, that's today. I'm talking
sorry.
Last week was Malcolm in the Middle with the intro.
It's hard to get. It gets confusing because remember you also have like shows like Lizzie McGuire and all that stuff. There were so many different Disney shows that came out. They had the same kind of talking where they start talking to the camera.
Well, that's also this, but we're talking last week with the intro with its quick cuts and a whole bunch of at the cameras. It reminded me of a whole bunch of.
There's too many shows. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're starting to blend them together. The only one that was entirely pure really was the Dick Van Dyke one. And then in the next episode they added in Bewitched, and it sort of flowed together.
And then after that it was like a collage of different
Family
TV
Ties,
shows.
Family Ties, the whole
I don't know
Family Ties and Full House. Growing Pains was in there, so it was a mixture of different things. But that was last week. Last week was really good. I love the fact that it was vision oriented and everything, and that that worked. At the end, when she's turning the outskirts of town into a circus, I really dug that, because you always hear that, oh, the circus came, and it's always in a field.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever had that. Maybe I know you might live in a small town or something, but even here in Orlando and such, the fair would always come to a part that was on the outskirts of town. It's just the town grew up around the fairgrounds.
Pixel, you're phasing in and out there. You okay?
I know. Westview's trying to pull me in.
I know. Wanda's pulling Professor back into Westview.
Or is it?
He's being rewritten. So the show starts today, and it is parodying The Office. It's parodying Modern Family. Those are the two I got.
Yeah.
Especially Modern Family at the beginning, but there was one part that's pure, and I'm trying to go chronological, but yeah, we're going to be skipping around a little bit. Obviously, there was one part that was pure Office. Vision finds Darcy, and he wakes her up. They're in a truck, and he mentioned something about how Wanda's trying to stop him from returning to her, and something gets in their way, and he does Jim face into the camera.
Looks like camera.
Yeah, it was. I got that. I was like, that's total Jim face, right?
Especially when there's. Well, but also when they're sitting outside, he's sitting on a lawn chair, and he's doing the whole thing, the whole bits, explaining it. It's like,
oh yeah, it was like straight up. Yeah, that was in the house. It came off as Modern Family.
It would have been great if you actually would have had like Steve Carell or Jim show
something going on in the background, like it does in The Office, where you see some things happening and everything. Yeah,
but it was missing from this. There was no Dwight. There's no one acting like Dwight.
Go ahead.
What they really should have done is given Wanda Wanda make Vision a red stapler and just do an Office Space reference while they were at it.
So the show starts, and we see the kids, and then we see Wanda, and Wanda's like, oh, well, it's one of those things where you have a bad day or something like that, and you expand your world in a fit of emotion. And we see her lying there, and she's in her Scarlet Witch outfit. So we know that it's very soon after, maybe the next day after.
Yeah, the events of the previous episode.
Yeah. And all I could think of was, damn. She looks good in that outfit. So it was
very bewitching.
Yeah, a few episodes ago it was bewitching. But it starts off, and you see not just, I got a feeling that it wasn't just like she was feeling bad. She threw basically a hissy fit, and she expanded the town, but also I don't think she believes she did it entirely herself, and that's why she doesn't have the answers. Go ahead, Professor.
Well, I'm just saying that the whole thing, whenever in the last episode when she was talking about how this happened, she doesn't know. It just is. It just a state of is happening. To her anyway. Remember she doesn't know exactly what's going on.
The kids, she had no control over that. They disappeared.
Dude, we're getting to that. Okay, so and speaking of the kids, as a matter of fact, they right away know something's going on. The boy Wiccan, I believe, is the I don't remember their actual names, but the boy who is
Billy is
Billy.
Wiccan.
Okay, so he's got his mother's telepathy. And he's talking about how everything's noisy and his head hurts, and he's hearing all sorts of sounds and such like that. And that's
actually a power that Wanda doesn't have in the MCU.
Yeah, Vision has that, doesn't he?
What? No, telepathy? No. But I guess Wiccan in the TV show does, and he's picking up all sorts of stuff. And you actually see them worried about their mom, because their mother is trying to figure things out. And for once, she has no answers. She supposedly has been controlling this entire town, which she even called into question because she's like, Vision, are you telling me that I'm controlling people doing their laundry? I'm controlling them go to breakfast. But which we actually saw, no, the further away they get from her influence, she's not controlling anything. Yeah, they're kind of in a trance. And are you going for the Vision's color, Professor Pixel? Is everybody seeing a purple Vision like?
The lighting is
because of Westview.
It's getting radiation burns. Okay.
Okay.
It's slowly dying.
Now, MK Giger is saying that he has a feeling that Wanda stumbled into the town and the situation and learned she can manipulate things. Maybe I have a feeling it's a little bit more sinister. I think she was called to the town somehow. I guess we might find that out in the next episode, maybe in episode number 9. And of course, Agatha comes over and she does her Modern Family bit. And I got to tell you, almost everything Agatha says in this episode to me was golden.
I know.
The line about she was just a few bangs short, or what was it? She was a few stray hairs short of cutting her own bangs.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's a good line. That's a good line. I want to give this over because I feel like I've been talking for a little bit. Let's go to we'll start with Dalton. Dalton, overall, what did you think of this particular episode?
I have mixed feelings on it because even though I think they're still going to add another villain to the mix that's going to be the real villain, and we all, I think, knew the twist of Agatha being Agatha, but it did kind of bum me out because it seemed like they were setting up Evan Peters to at least be the surrogate for somebody, and it just sort of that fizzled out pretty solidly.
Well, a lot of people are thinking that this is going to lead into the next Doctor Strange movie. So perhaps we will see this big reveal villain in episode number 9, which will be then, continued.
Yeah, and speaking of that, come back to me in a few minutes when we get to talking about the end, and I will drop some strangeness as is my niche.
Okay, how about you, Professor? What was something you felt about the episode here, at least up to where we're talking about? Because next we're going to go into the Monica Rambeau stuff.
Yeah. As for this point, one of my favorite moments was actually at the very start of the episode when the boys are trying to say, "Well, our video games are messing up," and we see the scene and it keeps switching between like a joystick and then Uno cards.
Yeah, and of course she's glitching out too as she's drinking her milk. It goes from almond milk to vitamin D to in a glass jar to a regular carton and so forth, and it's glitching. All of the TV shows are going in and out. What do you got to say there, Venkman?
On the milk card, I don't know if it's pouring clear or nothing, or just they said there's a missing kid. Show a picture of a kid that's missing.
Yeah, I saw, but I couldn't see who it actually was. Did any of you guys catch that?
Yeah.
No, but did you catch the name of the missing kid? Because I was not.
I don't think it had a name. I think it just showed the actual image of a. It might just be like a producer's son or whatever.
Yeah, but it could have also just been a person inside of Westview, and they're gone missing from the outside world. Because remember, what was his name? Detective Wu, or I forget.
Jimmy Woo.
Jimmy Woo, who's from Atlas.
I forget the characters' names, but the dude from Ant-Man anyway.
Jimmy Choo.
He was there investigating a missing person. So yeah.
Well, yeah.
Let's see.
I wonder if they'll get a spinoff because he's actually from the Agents Atlas. That's his character.
Evan is Nick Scratch, who is Agatha's son, says MK Geiger. That's his.
Yeah, that's a solid theory, MK. But like I said, I'll get into my tinfoil hat of deeper comic lore in a bit here.
Yeah, I know it wasn't a boy that he was looking for, but what I'm saying is that just because he was looking for one particular person in this town doesn't mean that there's not more missing people that found their way into Westview. Tevye saying he likes the episode. And yeah, I do agree that Agatha's song towards the end was very fun.
I killed Sparky. It was me.
But yeah, that is something. Before we get to her, I do want to talk about what I thought was the weakest part. For once, I'm actually enjoying the Darcy character, but really the weakest part to me was everything that had to do with not Westview, with Monica Rambeau and the whole sword element of it.
Yeah, I was just like skip.
Okay, well, my whole thinking was she's going to get into Westview. We know we are. We know she is. So the whole bit with the truck not working, and then she's got her, oh, I figured it out. Mm-hmm. Or I'm sorry, but what I saw was Kevin Bacon and Tremors. I've got a goddamn plan.
Yeah, which world is supposed to be running by sitcom rules here again?
Yeah, but yeah, that's why I've got a gosh darn plan. I'm not gonna cuss because we're on the Disney Channel.
Either way, she had to get in there, so she realized that the truck was too strong, so she went back in herself because she's already been there twice. She was changing, adapting.
Yeah, so. But that I had a problem with because she couldn't get in with the truck, right? So she's in a spacesuit and she rushes through. Why isn't she naked on the other side? She should have been wearing something.
Is that what you want? I mean, I don't know.
Yes.
No.
It was not home.
I mean, what would it have adapted the suit to? Another spacesuit? It's modern times now inside Westview. So
the whole truck was being rewritten. What is she going to be rewritten into? Her spacesuit was rewritten into a Fantastic Four looking, by the way, looking like Fantastic Four.
It looked more like Galaxy Quest. It was like Galaxy Quest.
It was a sword. It was a sword. I'm pretty sure it's what she was wearing underneath the suit because she came in the spacesuit. It didn't change, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I did. She took it off.
Yeah, she took it off. That's what she was wearing underneath.
He did say missing town. Let's see. I don't think Hayward may not be Ultron, says Tevye. The only thing interesting in the Monica was is very close to her look in Next Wave. Just add the trench coat. Okay. I think her original plan was the truck, but that failed, so she said screw it. And yeah, like I said, I've got it. Am I the only one that saw the movie Tremors?
No, I saw it.
He grabs the dynamite and he runs towards the edge of the cliff. The worm is chasing him. Yeah. Where are you going? And he goes, I've got a goddamn plan.
I didn't see it as cartoony as you do.
That to me was how the Monica Rambeau run was in it. The truck won't make it. I've got a dang plan. And she runs towards the thing. And of course she pushes her way through and she gets her sword outfit on because spacesuits transform into sword outfits.
Oh, that's not what happened. I'm telling you. She went over in the spacesuit. She took off the spacesuit after she arrived in Westview. She was still wearing it when she came out on the other side.
Okay, I missed that. So everything else gets rewritten. Her molecules get rewritten. Everything that's gone to that particular side was rewritten into some sort of clowns from outer space kind of circus. But she walks out, she's normal, except for her molecules, and she's still wearing the spacesuit.
I think it might be because she has powers now.
It's the 2000s.
Yeah, but so the clown people showed up in the 2000s.
No, they showed up in the 90s.
Oh, okay. I guess there you go. All right. I sit corrected. All righty. So there you go.
But anyway, can we now get into the Dalton?
No, we're still arguing about how I'm right. Okay. No. Anyway, what do you have to say?
Okay. So can I get into my tinfoil of deeper comic lore bit now?
Well, what about the rest of us?
About what? Yeah. Before you take us into a different part of the show,
dimension.
Make sure that Venkman has a chance to comment on the whole Monica Rambeau sword thing.
Well, before that, everyone else
before the confrontation with Wanda, though, the stuff on the outside of Westview.
Like I said, I like the beginning of that episode. I mean, as far as Vision and Darcy, to me, that's more the entertaining part than watching anyone with Wanda. Wanda's just kind of boring. We've already seen this a couple different episodes. And like Wanda didn't get the interesting until what happens at the very end of the episode, but we're not talking about that yet. But except Vision learning that he's dead.
Yeah.
From the previous episode. And then what we learned about what Haywood wants, why he wants Vision.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, that was more important to me. It's like, as far as the kids thing is just kind of like boring to me. It's like, they're cool. They're kids, They're kind of like side pieces right now. For all we know, they don't even exist. They could have been controlled by whoever else who's created it. We don't know as far as if they're actually real people or not.
Okay.
They could be, remember, it could be someone else's kids that she took.
They're not.
No,
the milk cart is someone else's kid.
Yeah, they were created in that world. Now, MK Geiger is saying something I completely disagree with. She is Photon. I like to call her, as I have since the 80s, Captain Marvel. Let's get rid of that whole Carol Danvers thing. We've got
Yeah, I know. We have the appropriate Captain Marvel now. Go away, Brie Larson.
Well, she seems like she's Spectrum now.
Well, but
Captain
either way, it's a good excuse to show Brie Larson the door and knock her out on her ass.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But they won't. They probably won't.
Hashtag my Captain Marvel. And in all honesty, she was. When by the time I really knew about Captain Marvel as a real character reading in the whole 9 yards, he was dead. And so my Captain Marvel was Monica Rambeau. She first appeared in a Spider-Man annual and then was immediately a part of the Avengers. And I loved her as a character.
That white and black costumes that she had?
Yeah, really good. So, yeah, to me, it was very much, I know everybody's wanting her to come back as Photon or Spectrum, but I'm just thinking, you know what? Why don't we make Carol Danvers go away and we have Monica Rambeau?
Yeah,
Marvel.
This is your chance. This is your chance to win everyone back over on the whole Captain Marvel issue.
Oh, you get a bunch of haters, Brie Larson haters.
I knew what I just said. Amazing Spider-Man. I knew it was 16. But yeah, I'm thinking, hey, MCU, you want the diversity points? Let's make the new Captain Marvel Monica Rambeau.
They already got Valkyrie.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, woman of color trumps regular woman apparently.
Oh, so. Yeah, right. But no, I was very happy actually. I guess let's talk about the confrontation between Monica Rambeau and Scarlet Witch. She shows up. And immediately Scarlet Witch loses her, and she's kind of sends her back out of the house.
She's a spoiled brat. She can't be confronted.
She almost, right? And she says, don't bring up Hayward's name because he lies. And I love this. She goes, the only lies I've ever told was the ones you put in my mouth. And she then goes right into beast mode. And you know it's beast mode because she's got that accent. And she says, don't talk that way to me. But if you notice,
I'm in charge, it's my show.
When she slams her to the ground, though.
Oh yeah, superhero pose.
Superhero pose, and Wanda kind of goes, "What?"
I thought right away. I was like, Deadpool is like superhero landing, yay!
Yeah, I think everyone did.
Yeah. So you were gonna say something there, Dalton?
This confrontation made me think of something that I wish they had done when the show was in black and white back a couple episodes ago. They missed a massive opportunity by not comparing Wanda to Anthony Friedman from It's a Good Life, the episode of The Twilight Zone. I want that now.
Yeah, a lot of critics and everything had done that, where the episode that Dalton's referring to, you have a little kid who anytime anybody says, they live in a house, and anytime anybody says something wrong, he exiles them to the field, which kind of has this feeling.
The cornfield, which is like a pocket dimension of something. Yeah.
That everybody fears. It kind of has a feeling of death. You know, he's basically killing you. They're not saying he's killing people, but just by exiling it, it means death. And a lot of critics had compared her, but you're right, they never did that comparison in the TV show.
Or they could have done it with Billy once Billy got his powers, but that would have been weird, I think.
Yeah, but that was something, by the way, to see in the in last episode, and I especially liked when Pietro's like, "Raise hell, demon spawn."
Yeah, like you're not really even trying to hide this, are you? Like,
yeah,
unsubtle demon is unsubtle.
The weirdest thing to me was the guy on the phone on the walkie-talkie. He was saying what happened, but he was saying before it happens.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of weird in episode 6. Let's see. Just wait until they introduce Rogue and she could take Carol's powers, says Snatch. Where's the puppet? Let's see. Tevia says Scarlet Witch is really a hypocrite, but I do understand where she's coming from. And Kevin Geiger, talking to Fool, says, I hope Marvel does that, make Rogue a bad guy in Captain Marvel 2 and depower her, and then Rogue at the credits knocking on Charles's door. That would be really cool.
I don't want Rogue anywhere near Carol, because then she'll absorb Carol's personnel. We'll get Brie Larson in Rogue.
Yeah,
I don't want
hopefully not.
Well, in the comics, even the Brie Larson personality would be submissive. It would be below her real personality and occasionally might come out. They become children of the corn, says Almighty Jack. The show started off rough in the beginning, but I'm happy to see it's gotten better with each episode. I'm one of the few who disagree. I thought it started off strong and just got stronger.
Got better
as it went, but a lot of people are saying that. A lot of people are thinking, what were the first 2 episodes about, really?
Well,
yeah, I think Englentine and I both called it. I like I said last time we talked about this, I got in an argument with somebody on Twitter that was like, I just watched the first 2 episodes and it's so boring and it's so irrelevant and cancel Disney and this, that, and the other. And I'm like,
it was nostalgia. That's what I felt it was. That's it.
No, the first 2 episodes are absolutely necessary. And they came out together for a reason, because they were the sitcom episodes. They were just quick, light. They didn't have too much to them. 3rd episode is really when it kicks it into high gear.
It's the slow burn. It's the slow burn thing, and that's exactly what I said. I literally said, if this gets half as weird as I think it's gonna get, you're gonna be begging for some semblance of normality by the end, and we're getting there.
Well, even while I was watching these episodes, maybe it's because I was on guard and all that. I wasn't watching it. I was never a casual viewer of this show. When they started off, and I say, "Oh, okay, they're kind of parodying the old shows." So that means there's going to be stuff in the background. There's going to be stuff hidden in what they're saying and what they're doing. So I was never a casual viewer of this show. I was always an active viewer. And by that, I mean, I just didn't kick back, relax, and watch. I was actually looking for clues and what could this mean and what can that mean and what are they doing and so forth and so on. So I
also appreciated the retro. The retro was nice.
Oh, me too. Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of Dick Van Dyke. But I do believe in, just the same as others, I read too much into some stuff and not enough into others. Let's see. I thought it was clever to have Darcy appear in Westview as an escape artist. She was a hacker, so just breaking something different. Oh, that's actually pretty cool. I never actually noticed that. Let's see. It was really funny, especially with Darcy being an escape artist. I'll agree with I Love Comics. For me, the worst parts have been the sword stuff. Keep it on Wanda and Westview. I didn't mind the very special episode, which kind of said this is what's going on outside. That one I didn't mind. Overall, though, it's after we got that, it really seems every time they cut to Westview, they're saying the same thing. They're doing the same thing.
Yeah, you get little nuggets of what's going on, but it's not.
Yeah, and we've got to stop Wanda. So they're always doing the same thing. So except for that one episode where we got all the connections, that has been the weaker part of the show to me.
You know, I was waiting for what's her name, Monica, to say the one. He's like, it's like, oh, so Vision's that died. Guess what? My mom died, and I wasn't even alive. I was pixelized. I was turned to dust. So you at least got to be with him when he died.
I have to say, as the professor of them, being pixelized and being dust, 2 different things, Venkman.
Oh, okay.
tube.
There we go. Now we know the difference. There's pixelized and dusted. By the way, VENKMAN put out his Join I Love Puppets channel. Right now we are on 3 different channels. We're on my Disney channel called The Homegrown Tourist. We are on the Extreme Movie Show where we talk about movies and TV shows. And we are on I Love Comics. So if you want, the links to all of it are in the description below. Make sure you're checked in so you don't miss anything.
And if you want more puppets, subscribe to that channel. Every Friday, there's a puppet.
There you go.
There's me yelling at a puppet.
Here's an interesting thing, and I would love to see this. You know, Grim Reaper still needs to show up. My theory is Hayward is actually Eric Williams.
Get Justin Watson.
What do you think, Dalton?
Sorry.
I think that would be overcomplicating it in the same way I do not and never have thought that he was Ultron. Stop trying to put a scientific spin on something that's very obviously a magic-based show, please.
No, okay, but I don't think...
Oh, going ahead. VENKMAN started talking first. Then
we saw at the end of Age of Ultron, Vision just erased him. He's gone.
Yeah, there is no more Ultron.
There's no Ultron. He's vaporized.
It was boring.
Unless Ega Harkness, brought him back.
Which why would it?
Yeah, exactly.
One of those things of why would she kind of? Yeah, it's one of those fan theories reaching. It's one of those fan theories that you decided on a fan theory before you actually looked at the evidence, and then we got more evidence, so your fan theory should change, which we'll get into shortly if I'm ever allowed to do my.
Okay, we will in just a moment. Professor Pixel, you go ahead.
Yes. I was saying that while there are clearly a lot of magical things going on, I don't think Hayward would have to be magical. I think that's a stupid theory, but at the same time, he doesn't have to be some mystic force. I'm not saying he's a mystic force. I'm saying he's ultimately unimportant.
Yeah, he's not Ultron. Yeah.
Well, the reason why MK Geiger is saying this, and he puts it in the comments as well, is that in the Bewitched episode, in the Grim Reaper's helmet shows up in the credit scenes.
Look at what Bad Comics says. He said that she's probably a red herring. I bet Quicksilver's actually Mephisto.
Well, a lot of people, including Dalton. Go on ahead. Dalton, expel your theory without explaining too much of this episode. We have not already talked about it.
Okay.
Because we're going to get to it. Don't go ahead of what we're talking about.
So I, like many people, thought that Evan Peters either was an avatar of Mephisto or a servant of Mephisto when he showed up, and I've been banking on Mephisto showing up for the last few episodes because in the comics when the twins showed up, it was because Mephisto was doing some jiggery-pokery to essentially manifest himself on the mortal plane. However, given certain Easter eggs we're about to get into, I no longer believe it's Mephisto, and I do not think it's Nightmare. The reason I don't think it's Nightmare is because wanting to use Nightmare was very much Scott Derrickson's baby. And they basically yeeted everything that Scott Derrickson wanted to do out of the franchise when they nixed him for Doctor Strange 2. So I don't think it's Nightmare either. I think the key feature here is going to end up being a few things. Number one, we've got to introduce Blade to the MCU somehow. And number two, an Easter egg, which we will get into, that is going to blow the lid off of the canister, so to speak. As and when we get into it,
which is coming up. I think I know what you're talking about. Okay, we'll get a couple more of these and then we'll move on. Everything in the bubble feels like exceptional creativity. Outside the bubble feels like Captain Marvel, except for the Vision scene, and that was good. Yeah, I too like the Vision and the Darcy stuff.
Darcy, and that's what I missed about the from the very first Thor movie. You did Darcy in here. She was a comic relief, along with Thor. I'm glad that they brought her character back because I mean she fits this whole entire show perfectly. She's the voice of reason.
Oh, and the theory that that Hayward is Ultron is because what is his name? Spader.
James Spader.
Yeah, has been rumored to be in the show somewhere. Let's see. Okay, so vampires. I think Hayward is a technological threat for the Vision, says Tevia.
I keep thinking of Haywood from Legends Pearl.
Yeah, me too.
So there's actually there's a few things that are being brought up that I think would actually make great streams by themselves that are being talked about, which is, of course, leaving Blade alone in Marvel Universe and so forth and so on. But I do believe those kind of things warrant their own discussion. So Monica and Scarlet Witch have their confrontation, to which Agatha, who's watching the kids, and mind you, Wiccan himself says, I love being here because everything's quiet. Yeah. Which makes you think there's nothing going on. There's no thoughts. There's no, or she's blocking out the thoughts or something.
You know what I think it is? She's worded. One of Wiccan hears all the people trapped in their minds.
That may be, but once again, he would still hear it if he was catching it. But inside of her house, he wasn't hearing anything, which made me think that she's blocking his mental ability.
Yeah, and Agatha's probably blocking.
Yeah, that's who I was talking about.
Yeah.
Warding.
But she looks out and she sees this confrontation going on, and she walks up and says, haven't you done enough damage, yada, yada, and she starts walking away. And that to me was the big, okay, now she's the villain. Mm-hmm. All this time she's the wacky neighbor, but if Monica was paying attention, she would have revealed that now we know who's behind this. Yeah, which I guess she did. I'm getting ahead of it, but I guess from what we see in the towards the end, she does.
I get that all along. Yeah.
So yeah, Agatha takes her to her house, and she's sitting there, and Agatha asks Wanda, "Do you want some tea?" She goes off to make it, and Wanda goes, "Light bulb." Looks around for a bit, and what gets me is it really looks like this is the first time she thought about it. And she's like, wait a second, where are my twins? Where are my boys? If you look at her, it almost looks like she didn't even think about them until Agatha was a little bit away from her. Like almost like Agatha was making her forget her children. And then when Agatha moves away, she was maybe free enough to actually remember that she had kids. And there's no sign of them whatsoever.
There's signs that they were there, because there's peanut butter and jellies on the table and
cartoons on the TV.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and she's watching the kids, but the kids gone. I'm watching Go Yabba Yabba, or it looked like a Teletubbies thing or whatever it was.
I get a theory though, and go with me. This might be a one more day for Wanda.
You don't need it. There's plenty of other Mephisto-related storylines with her.
I'm kidding.
The worst Mephisto storyline.
How dare you?
Let's see. Agatha might have been protecting Wanda and Vision from whoever sent Quicksilver too. Her motivations might look sinister now, but what if she's been trying to contain Wanda's power from someone? Okay,
so thing about that.
Let's get to the big reveal. She goes downstairs because Agatha, maybe they're playing downstairs. So Agatha sent her to the basement.
Because she wants her down there.
And then, but it was her idea. So, okay, they go into the basement together based on Agatha's suggestion. And when she looks around, she goes, ha, 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 ha. You didn't think you were the only magical person. My name's Agatha Harkness. Surprising. Absolutely. No one.
That was the most obvious answer.
The only people who are surprised by this is the people who don't read comic books. But then we get the most joyous and wonderful song. It was Agatha All Along, where you basically see the behind the scenes and how she has been manipulating everything.
When she's filming her too in the beginning episode. She's got the camera.
Yeah, at the end you see her. Yeah, she's doing the thing. But if you notice, it actually has her manipulating Quicksilver, which may actually say more towards the Sun than to Mephisto, because it shows the scene of Quicksilver at the door, and she's doing some sort of spell around him. What do you think on that one, Dalton?
Okay. If you notice her rabbit is named Mr. Scratchy or something along those lines.
Scratch.
And her husband's name, I believe, was Ralph Scratch.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's probably Nicholas Scratch. Not to be confused with this Chilling Adventures of Sabrina character. It's just another person named Nicholas Scratch, because that's an old pseudonym for the devil when he's out doing things. Yeah, I think that he's going to be Nicholas Scratch, but I think that we're gonna end up with a situation whereby she uses her powers to channel an entity of some kind into Nicholas Scratch to give whoever she's working with /for a physical foothold. I think she's going to end up having to sacrifice her own child is the thing. Then we get into the who's, where's, and why's, at which point I geek out, because as Wanda is going through the basement there, sitting right in the middle of the floor, taking pride of place, is what very much to me looks like a version of the Darkhold.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. When I saw it, at first it was really dark, so I was like, is that like supposed to be like maybe a computer chip from Vision? And I went, oh no, that's the Darkhold.
Yeah, that's the Darkhold.
Yeah.
And now we get into appropriate comic book backstory, because you see, in the Marvel universe, there are two grand Grim Wars.
Yes.
There's one for light magic, and there's one for dark magic. The book for light magic is called the Book of the Vishanti, which was written by three supremely powerful magical entities known as the Vishanti, who are the main sources of Doctor Strange's energies in basically every comic book continuity. The other book, however, was written by a demon named Chthon, and it is called the Darkhold. This is significant because, like I said, and I realized this actually about a week ago, because I knew they had to bring Blade in somehow. In the Darkhold, among other things, there is a spell to create vampires. And it has been used by everyone from Dracula to even Doctor Strange at one point, because they stupidly changed his backstory again and gave him a brother who I hate. And he accidentally made him a vampire. But point being, if the Darkhold is involved, then the demon behind it all probably isn't Mephisto or Nightmare. It's Chthon, otherwise known as the demon of the Darkhold.
So important notes that's going on in the comments. People are saying that the Darkhold was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. within the last few seasons was taken out of
it. Yeah, it's not.
So it's not worth.
Ever since Ike Perlmutter and Kevin Feige had their falling out, and Kevin Feige got creative control of the movies, and Ike Perlmutter kept control of the shows, they've been diverging, which is kind of sad because I really liked Gabriel Luna as Ghost Rider. But that's neither here nor there. Also, I think the design on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for the Darkhold was actually nicer than the one we have so far. But, beggars can be choosers. The point being, we're probably getting Avengers Disassembled at some point, and we're probably getting the various comics based on the Darkhold, which are going to end up leading into the introduction of vampires, possibly Mephisto, because the Darkhold literally contains every dark summoning spell you can imagine, and basically that whole dark wing of the Marvel universe. In fact, we're probably going to get a better version of Damian Hallstrom out of it as well. But for the time being, unless they retcon it so that Mephisto was the source of the Darkhold or somebody else was the source of the Darkhold, my money, the geek money, is going on Chthon being the puppet master behind everything.
I would not expect them to go deep. Okay, I don't think it's more likely that it's going to be somebody bigger who more comic book fans know about. no matter what the comic book lore is, they will rewrite it to make sure it's a character that is more recognizable. I would not. I have very little faith that we're going to get, oh, hey, this character was introduced, but it was introduced by this smaller known character over here. You know, you don't introduce Warlock by first introducing Pip the Troll. You know, it's just one of those things. So I would expect it if this character you're talking about was the one who did that, I would expect a larger name character to take his place for it. I could be wrong, of course. I've been wrong before, once or twice. But
honestly, I would like for all of the big demonic names to come up and basically work together. I honestly,
oh yeah, of course, that would be nice.
Because there are groups within the mystical side of the Marvel universe where people like Mephisto and Nightmare can, you know, cross over and work together. Like, for example, Nightmare is answerable to the Fear Lords, I believe, in the comics.
Yeah.
And if it were up to me and I was giving them some free advice for my own sanity, I would have Mephisto, Nightmare, and Chthon all be what are called the Dwellers in the Dark, which is a sort of arch demonic secret society of various hell dimensions, basically.
Yeah. Well, my comment also came from Dominic Powell's comment, because he's mentioning we may see the Darkhold Redeemers and the Midnight Suns. The Midnight Suns you're not going to see in a group anytime soon, and this is why I think so. It consists of Blade, Ghost Rider, Morbius, and so forth. You're going to see movies based on each of these characters before you see the Midnight Suns. But I would not expect them to show up in a small TV show.
Yeah, no, but I do think this is setting up for them, and that's why I think the Darkhold and by extension Chthon is so important, because he does open up the possibility of Blade, and that opens up the possibility of the Midnight Suns, and heck, even the Howling Commandos, the actual monster one, I could see coming in.
Venkman's been trying to talk here, so
as far as the Hellstrom was abandoned by Marvel, so that shows they have no desire of doing anything with those characters because they probably feel they're too dark. They want to be a family mode. As far as this, because WandaVision is family, everything they put out is family friendly. You know, if they wanted to go dark, that would be DC. They don't want to do that.
I think they could be onto something if they put out darker TV shows. They don't even have to announce them like big. This is in the MCU. Yeah. They could do darker stuff on Hulu and so forth.
Which I don't understand.
Not have it in the MCU. Have it be its own thing. Look, I love the fact that the Marvel movies connected. It was a big thing to do. It was a big experiment. It worked. Very happy for you, but that doesn't mean that all your universes have to connect.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Hellstrom was abandoned even before I even finished it. Ghost Rider was canceled off of Hulu. They were going to have their own series with the guy from Agent of the Shield, his character.
Yeah.
His version. And they said they scrapped all of that. I don't know because it's out of their budget because of COVID or what, or just because they said, you know what, we don't want to go in that route.
Also remember, Venkman, that there was that tiff between Kevin Feige and Ike Perlmutter. I think, if anything, what happened was that was Ike Perlmutter's vision for those properties, and Kevin Feige is going to take it and do it, quote-unquote, right, in the same way that they want to reboot Iron Fist by way of Shang-Chi.
I'm hoping it's right, not that he's just going to, water it down.
Because WandaVision is too weird to not go where I think they're going to go, especially not given that it ties into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which at the X of Madness is a reference to H.P. Lovecraft and John Carpenter, and it's directed by the guy who gave us Evil Dead and Darkman. And I know people always, whenever I reference Sam Raimi in relation to superhero stuff, immediately go to Spider-Man. But I'm telling you now, hear me now, quote me later, his connections to Spider-Man are not going to be nearly as important as you think they are. At least not if they do Doctor Strange 2 right. If they're doing Doctor Strange 2 right, what you want is the guy who gave us Evil Dead and Darkman. You don't want the guy who gave us Spider-Man.
Well, be prepared to see Bruce Campbell in there.
Well, yeah, but
everybody is prepared to see Bruce Campbell in anything. Yes.
Listen, I'm just going to throw it out there. You put an eye patch on Bruce Campbell, he looks like old Nick Fury.
I'm in. I'm good. Yeah, let's bring that up. Yeah.
I'd go with him as MODOK, honestly. Him as MODOK would be cool.
I'm in. Make that happen. I'm good with Bruce Campbell in a movie as almost anything. So, cool.
Are we to the point where we can talk about this is the only episode thus far, I'm pretty sure, where there's an in-credit scene?
I got a question, though. Dalton. Dalton, you're considered to be a really weird guy, so this show's kind of weird. Does this make it normal to you, then? Watching it? Or
no, it needs
is
to
this
go
your
several,
version of Full House?
it definitely needs to go several more magnitudes of weird before I'm entirely happy with it. I'm just happy they're finally getting there, because this is the kind of stuff I wanted to be in Endgame and wasn't. I wanted Celestials, I wanted Cosmic Entities, I wanted the weird stuff, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. To me, the street level side of comics is always only the opening acts. I go to comics for weird cosmic and mystical stuff. Give me what I came for, please, for the love of God, Marvel.
So here's something, and he's got a decent theory. Quicksilver, Mordred.
No, I'm going with Nicholas Scratch, but only temporarily because he's going to be sacrificed to whoever.
Tevia is saying, "Can we please keep Daredevil?" Yes, as a matter of fact, we can. They've announced that they're going to be bringing them in some sort of capacity, and Charlie Cox will be playing Daredevil, to which I respond, so long as Vincent D'Onofrio is Kingpin. That, to me, is even more important casting than Charlie Cox as Daredevil. Charlie Cox is really good at Daredevil. I hope they keep him. But the Marvel TV castings that I truly hope they keep are absolutely the Kingpin and the Punisher. I think they just nailed it. John Barenthal is the Punisher, and Vincent D'Onofrio is the Kingpin. Absolutely great.
Also, they can use the Kingpin elsewhere, not just in Daredevil, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it kind of threw me off, though, when all of a sudden, like, one of the kids, I thought it was Tommy, got super speed just like, his Uncle Pietro. Because I don't remember that being in the comics. So, I mean, as far as
you don't remember Speed?
Yeah, he's got it.
His literal code name is Speed, dude.
I've only remembered seeing Billy Wiccan because there's all over Marvel. He's gay.
Yeah, this guy's gay. Shouldn't we promote him
with Hulkling? That's all I remember from the 2000s.
But the sad thing is they don't promote Wicking and Hulkling nearly as much as they should, because they're the awesome gay couple and they don't ever use it for anything.
I think was it 2015 or 2016 they got married? And that was it. That was the big thing.
They started dating in 2013. I don't know when they got married, but I just hope they use Wicking and Hulkling more, because they're the one quote unquote social justice-y pair of characters that I don't think sucks, because they're absolutely adorable and they're amazing as a couple, so it works.
Alrighty, so as Professor was trying to bring it up, this is the first time that we've had a in-credit scene
in this series.
Yes, in this series. Go on ahead, Professor. It's your baby.
Basically, Monica, we saw her pretty much follow them after they went inside the house, but she tries looking through the window, doesn't see much, and so she goes to the basement. She opens up the doors on the outside, and inside she sees down like purple, almost vines all down this dark hall. And then suddenly at her side, Pietro shows up and he says, "Snooper's gonna snoop." And
he didn't say swipe or no swiping? That's what I heard.
No, it said Snoopy. It said Snoopy, no snooping.
Snoopy's the Snoop.
Or no snooping, Snoopy.
Snooper's gonna snoop.
No.
This is where my Quicksilver theory comes in.
Okay.
While Quicksilver was absolutely, the episode ends there, but while he was being controlled originally by Agatha, if you look at how he's pretty much dressed up now, He has the hat. He's chill. I think that he's actually his Fox self again. I don't think he's being controlled at that moment.
Or
no,
or the Pietro we saw that put a spell on Mega Harkness is a different Pietro. This one's Mephisto, who's watching over everything. He's like, I'm watching this. Don't interrupt.
Or I'm just kidding. No, I don't have anything. So say again.
I was just going to say, this is if this leads into Doctor Strange. Clearly, it's not. It's supposed to be on purpose that this Pietro isn't actually the Pietro of the MCU.
Pietro, not Pietro.
Oh,
I think it's a red herring. I think it was just for the fan reaction, if I'm entirely honest, or at least I hope so, because the kind of multiverse that Doctor Strange needs to be involved in has nothing whatsoever to do with parallel Earths. Nothing. No alternate timelines. No parallel universes. Alternate dimensions. God damn it.
Pedro.
I'm sorry. I know this is being broadcast on the Disney Channel, but god dang it, that bugs me.
But the fact is,
you differentiate between your concept of multiverse is the thing.
They noticed that Darcy says she recast Pietro. If Pietro is there in some
Am I
form,
the only one that pronounces it Pietro?
That's what I said, Pietro.
I know, right?
Yeah,
anyway,
it's Pietro.
Go on ahead.
Pietro.
We'll just call him Pedro like Slash says.
Quicksilver. It's obviously on purpose that it's one that we know. It can't. I don't think it's just a red herring. I think this is going to be in own fashion.
I think I hope to God you're wrong, because that would really cheapen what the word multiverse means in relation to Doctor Strange. It would bolster what the multiverse means to everyone else, but it would completely screw over the entire mystical wing of the Marvel Universe, and I cannot allow that. Especially given how subpar the first Doctor Strange was. I want to see at least one good and honest, true Doctor Strange movie before I die. Is that so much?
All I know is I want Josh Brolin to go on YouTube, create a parody. He's like, it was me the whole time. It's Thanos. The rings. I created this universe.
Okay, we're not going to let Venkman talk anymore, gang. Don't worry about it. Well, I'm just kidding.
Fine, I'll take my blow and I'll go home.
But okay. So
when you say that, Venkman, it ends up sounding a lot more like Eric Cartman than the sad kid you want it to sound like.
Well, oh wow, I wrote something in,
Dalton, you want to go on a boat? I got a wiffle bat.
Okay, so here we go. I'm still in. By the way, I watched this and I'm loving this show. I heard it was the #1 show in the world. It's very entertaining. I was talking to my wife. Y'all may know about her, Gail. And she's not a big fan. She just could not get into it. Same as what a lot of people said. The first 2 episodes did not thrill her. And I say, you know what? When this is all said and done, I would like to do a binge watch just to see how it flows after. And she's full on in agreement. Let's try it that way, because this is basically a 4-hour movie. So I just have that feeling. It's 6 hours. Yeah, because it's 9 episodes. So I don't know. I just have this feeling it's going to be a lot better binge watched than it is the way we're watching it. It just seems to fill out.
It's going to have a lot more replay value.
Yeah.
Once it all comes out.
Well, you are going to want to watch it and notice, okay, this clue, here's a clue, without having to watch like any one of these 52,000 things you didn't notice in WandaVision episode 7. Hey, look, Vision is still green. Did you notice? Probably not, because you're so used to looking at him. You know, bullshit. Like that.
The only one of those channels that I actually like is Beyond the Trailer, because she's actually a fan as well, it seems.
Okay. What were you saying, Venk?
I was gonna say the fact you bring up binge watching, and I actually watched the first 5 through binge watching. I waited till, because I saw a previews for the first 2, and I was just like, okay. As soon as I watched the 3rd episode, I was like, I should just watch the third episode because, like I said, the little clues in there, I could have just like one of you guys would have spilled the beans anyway for me. I don't need to go that in depth in the first 2 episodes to look for clues. Dalton is like a fanatic when it comes to like the little strange and occult stuff. So Dalton would be like, I know that. I recognize that. I know what's coming next. It's like
this is definitely my up my alley, and that's why I'm so protective of Doctor Strange 2, because if all of this great mystical Easter eggs is just leading to here's a world where Tony Stark is Sorcerer Supreme, and here's a world with America Chavez, and here's a world where this, and here's a world where that, I'm going to literally want to shoot myself before the first hour of the movie is over.
And for those in the chat watching along, if you want Peter Hoon to reprise his role as an alternate Doctor Strange in the movie, press
alternate.
1.
Peter Hoon is
Don't make me want to kill you.
He is the Doctor Strange.
With a blue shirt and everything.
It's not the shirt, so it's the Jufro that makes Peter Wooten the greatest Doctor Strange. He uses magic to keep that thing full and fluffy.
I hate all of you right now so much.
America Chavez will carry Doctor Strange too, says Eric Breen.
Exactly.
Look at all the ones you're getting. Look at all those ones.
The stars out.
Right. All righty, gang. So
I am in pain. Please send help.
So there you go. That's our take on WandaVision. Everybody's still a fan?
Yeah.
I know I am. I'm still in on this particular run. As somebody who just binged and you jumped in, how did you take it there, Venk?
Like I said, I liked that this episode was actually longer. I was surprised. Like, wait, it's 30 minutes? Because usually it's like 20 minutes. It's like a freaking anime. But you get less action.
It is a very short show.
And that's one thing I was talking to Mariah last time. I was talking to her about this. It's like, we wish it'd be an hour long. You know, because you get more stuff in there. And I know that they're stretching out because they're waiting until Doctor Strange 2 comes out. But with COVID and everything, they can release it however they want to on stream.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's like, give me more content than release.
I'm thinking I'm gonna get a Black Widow poster. Like I did the New Mutants. And just say, I'll take this down when that freaking movie comes out. They keep pushing it back. Supposedly it's out in March. Yeah, okay.
I'm doing that with Ghostbusters Afterlife. It was supposed to be June. Now it's November.
Yeah.
What they honestly should have done is had it be 4 episodes and have the last episode just be a half an hour longer.
Well, maybe
and
that.
You could have the episodes as they are, just put them together in twos.
That bird is loud.
I know. He just woke up, and you look like you're wearing Mickey ears. All righty, gang. So anyway, thank you very much for hanging out while we talked about all the sorts of WandaVision. Twiddles is saying it's time for me to pay attention to him, which I won't. But once again, I'd like to thank Dalton the Authenticator. We've got Professor Pixel, the real Dr. Venkman, and every one of you guys for helping to keep the conversation going. And as always, thank you very, very much for watching. Stay extreme, and remember, have a zippity-doo-dah day. Have a good night, gang.